Yeah, this is Yom Taruah. Yes, this is the closing doors to your mind. From all carnal rule, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, all laziness, all doubt. In the center of your mind. And remove from the center of your mind anything that will allow your mind to come to balance within oneself. For today is the day of freedom. Today is the day of warning. Today is the day that Yahuwah has given to his people as a day to sound the Taruah. It's a day for you once to give heed to the sound vibration of frequency that comes from the highest Shby'ay, that comes from the highest Shby'ay and is sent here by the thoughts of Yahuwah from his throne. Sending his son Yahushua to the earth to give us the actual true light, the light of every man that comes into the way. For this union, we acknowledge the one who made all the hard of the earth, all of them not hard, they are all the rivers, all the streams of the earth, all of the mountain ranges of the earth, the one who gives life to the inward man, the one who takes away life from the inward man. Yahuwah Elohim. So this Yom, this day, this night, I say, evening Areb, we give honor to the one who allows us to live and to breathe and have Binah Kukma Da'at on the inside of our inner man. So as we move forward in kindness, ahab, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, amunah, in this actual fourth portal as we enter and travel through to the shortest day. So this is the Acts of the Nazarene, Acts of the Shalakim, chapter 17, suggestions of the old serpent. Right? So, above all, therefore, you ought to understand the deception of the old serpent and his cunning suggestions who deceive you, as it were, by prudence. So Satan, Hashatan, comes at you in order to deceive you, in order to deceive your mind, your consciousness, your thought process, your inner man, to throw your body out of balance, throw your body in subjection, so you could be listening to his voice and not Yahuwah's voice. Right? And it says, as by a sort of reason creeps through the senses and deceiving you a great gain. So he gets gain from deceiving you. So you look at the gain that one has in the world. I go get gain in one city, or go to another city, or go to another city. Right? And then you boast about tomorrow how you get gain in another city. He said that is evil. He said such boasting is evil. Right? So you look at that, you look at all of our thought processes, he's already mapped it out. Just like we spoke about before, he can look at your mind and gaze upon it in 3 minutes, and he can map out your whole thought process. And it says, therefore, he enunciates into your mind's opinions of Elohim, and whatsoever kinds only that your sin is discomfort. So anytime you're sinning, anytime you go against the Mashiach, anytime you go against the knowledge, the Binah Kukma Da'at that's already been given, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, just understand, Satan is comfortable inside of your mind, inside of your body, in your kidneys, in your liver, in your mind, in your 12 cranial nerves, in your frontal lobe, in your 12 medulla centers. He's actually comfortable in your thought process. He's comfortable inside of you, right? And he's comfortable. For his immorality was condemned from the beginning to eat dust. Just like Adam and Kurah, right? He was from the beginning. He made his children eat dust. He made his children eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, from the apes, right? He made them eat that. And guess what happened? He would say, you know what? You're going to eat dust for the rest of your life. And that's exactly how he operates. He operates the same way. For that, he caused to be again resolved into dust him who had been taken from the dust. So Adam was formed to the Adam, and then he caused Adam to go back to the Adam. But he was an eternal being. But then when he actually started to sin, what happened? For dust thou art, dust thou shalt return. He said, the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Move. You die, surely die. For that he caused to be again to resolve into the dust him who were taken from the dust, even till the time of your being, and even until the time when your beings will be restored. And being brought through the fire, as we will instruct you more fully at another time. From him therefore proceeds all the errors and doubts. So any errors you have, any doubts, just understand, it all comes from him. Any errors and doubts, it comes from him. And these are all the thoughts that have to be cast down. You have to know when he's trying to enter your thought process, into your consciousness. You have to know when he's trying to do these things to your thoughts. He needs to know when he's trying to alter the frequency that's trying to enter your mind. You need to understand that. It says, from him therefore proceeds all error and doubts, by which you are driven from a moon. He drives you away. He takes you away. He tries to take you away from the moon. Just like we spoke about before, he try to lead you back into Mizraim, lead you back to sorcerers and magicians, to lead you back to bondage, lead you back to being a slave to him. Why? Because Amunah is something that people, he said, Amunah come by hearing by the word of Mashiach. When Mashiach came down, nobody understood what he was saying. He came to his own people, and they didn't even receive him. They didn't even receive him. And he says, driven from Amunah and belief of one of Elohim Yahuwah. He wants you to believe multiple gods. Like multiple gods created you. There's only one Elohim who made you. They'll come up with any type of, there are people who create things and say, hey, the gods had a hand in making Adam human beings, right? But then you say, who gets all the credit? You're taking the credit from the one who controls you, who sits above you in the highest Shamayim, in the 13th Shamayim above the 7th Shamayim. You're taken away from that. And he says, in belief of one Elohim Yahuwah. Right? So this is Leviticus 23:23. As this time, the first day of the 7th month, as people proclaim it. And that's what we do, right? It says, like a statute, something to do. And it says what? Leviticus 23. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the people of Yasharal, saying, in the 7th month, that's this month, Shby'ay month, or Shby'ay Chudash, right? 7th month, that's what we in. On the first day of the month, that's what we eat, Erev, evening, morning. What did he say? Ye shall observe a solemn rest, a memorial proclaimed with the blast of the Taruah. A Chudash convocation. So it's a solemn rest, it's a Shabbatun. Right? It's a day, it's a Shabbat, but guess what? It's a solemn blast. What do you mean solemn blast? Taruah. It says, and ye shall not do any ordinary work. The word for ordinary is Aydah. Right? No ordinary work. And of course we know that word for work is malakah. Behold your king. Behold your malak. That's what we spoke about before. Right? And it says what? And you shall present a food offering to Yahuwah. So you gotta have some food. This ain't no fast. Right? You got 9 days from now, you have a fast, right? That's gonna be your fast. Right? That's gonna be your fast. This ain't no fast. Like people say, I'm gonna fast, right? No, this ain't no fast. This is food offering. Eat something. Have some ka in your heart. Right? Have some ka in your heart. Right? This Aramaic Palestinian Targums is Phineas. Right? This is interesting. Because this is something that people don't really think about. We talk about Satan, we talk about old serpent, the ancient serpent, as some would say, or the old serpent. That's the person that people they say are afraid of today. Right? Here we go. This is the Aramaic Targums. And in the 7th month, the month of Tishri, where you say the 7th month, right? On the first of the month, ye shall have a Chudash convocation. That's what one is doing right now. You may not do any servile work. They say Abadah Malakah. And it shall be to you a day for sounding the trumpets. Sounding the trumpets. What are you sounding the trumpets for? That by the voice of your trumpets, your voice, your sound vibration that comes from your tongue, your instrument, your body is an instrument of righteousness. Your body is. He said that the voice of your Taruah, you may disturb Santana. That Santana means Satan. By you saying things out, by you sounding the Taruah, by you reeling to and fro, by you clapping your hands, by you doing these things, on this day, you disturb Satan. You disturb him. Why? Because he comes. Satan will come. He comes. But when you start doing these things, he said, be ye doers of the word, not hearers only. See, you start making Satan uncomfortable when you start doing it at the bar. He gets very uncomfortable. He can't do it. It's not anything to do. It says, guess what he says? Who cometh to accuse you? That's the only reason he coming. People say, why? When the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah, Satan came in. What do you think he come there to do? To accuse people. What did he do? He accused Eve. What did he say? Where have you been? I've been going to and fro on the earth. Have you considered my servant Eve? That there is none like him? That's what Satan comes to do. He said, sound the Taruah. And you shall make a burnt offering to be received with favor before Yahuwah. That's what he comes to do. That's what he's supposed to do. But just look at that. To disturb Satan. He artificial error and doubt within one's thought process. Right? So that word for Abadah, it means it's Abadah. The word for servile, or it says Abadah, servile work. It's labor, service, labor of work, slave, right? Work of any kind, right? Labor, right? When the bar is being spoken, when you opening your mouth and things like that, you're not going to do any work. People say, why you don't do any work when the bar is spoken? Why you say, because people say, you're not paying attention. Like he says, he's supposed to do no servant, no work, no servant work. Or he says, no bondage work, no bond servant work. And you're supposed to have a good food offering. But he's saying, you're supposed to do nothing. Don't do anything. Why? When the word is being spoken, like he said, Martha, Martha, you troubled about anything. She was worried about serving, but she sat down and she heard the word. She was like, she's holding on to that thing. Never been taken away. Like that's the whole point. Right? I seen the word of your mouth, the word of your mouth more than my food. He said, why you got food offering to work? So he's trying to get you to see the frequency vibration more than the food you eat. That's the whole point. And it's that word for Abadah, you add it up, you get the ayin, you get the bayith, the dalet, and the ha, which equals to 81, which equals to 9. Abadah. No servile work, no servant work, no nothing. Work of any kind. Amazingly, right? Then you have ayin, bayith, right? Ayin means sea. Bayith, this means house. Dalet means what? The door. See the door of the house. Behold, reveal the door of the house. Right? Behold, reveal the door of the house. How are you going to see the door of the house? By not doing anything. Why? Right? This is Nakamyah 8:1. And all the people gathered as a Qahalath. That word, it says as one man. That word for one man is a Qahalath. They gathered together as a Qah, one man. Because we know the Qah is equals to 13. Yeah, as one man, a Qah each. Into the square before the water gate. They all was one man before the water gate. Notice how they sitting at the water gate wait for the gateway. Yeah, the water gate. Right? It says, and they told Azra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moshe that Yahuwah had commanded Yasharah. He said, bring the law of Moses that he commanded Yasharah. So Azra, the priest, brought the Torah before the Aydah, or assembly, or congregation, or people, or community, both men and women, and all who could understand what they heard. Because you got to be able to understand. Can you understand? I'll bring you the shoulder. Can you understand English? Because you speaking in a foreign tongue, people are going to be like, I don't understand what you're saying. You go speak in Geese. Right? Like they say that's supposedly one of the oldest languages, Tamil in India. Nobody will understand what you're saying. If you're gonna try to speak to somebody who got English as their first name, or go to somebody who speaks Mandarin, they're gonna understand nothing you're saying. He said, all who could understand what they heard. Can you understand what you hear? And it says, and on the first day of the 7th month, that's what we know. And he read from it facing the square before the water gate, from early morning to midday. Right? That's what they would do. That's what people would come to judge. Remember Mishah? They would come from morning to midday. Remember Shoshana? When they would come to the rich man's house, they would go from morning to midday. That's what they would do. He said, why? He says, in the presence of the men and women and those who could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive to the book of the Torah. They were all attentive to the book of the Torah. He says, and Azra the scribe stood on a wooden platform and that they had made for the purpose. They made it. And he was standing up by the water gate as a cod each, one man. They were standing as one man. Just all the people as one, a cod. And they were all attentive to the book. Why? Because when a whole family gets together, when the book is spoken, that's how everybody in the whole home becomes one. A cod. If everybody's not a cod, then how you say, God said, hey, here comes Satan. You got one person, 3 people, 25 people, ain't a cod. And guess what Satan is? He started whispering in the ear, the cod. And then guess what he does? He divides the whole place. That's what he does. That's why he said, your voices, Taruah, disturb Satan. That's all we're doing, right? And he says what? And Ezra the scribe still in the pulpit of wood platform that they have made for the purpose. They made it for that purpose, from morning to midday, right? Early morning unto midday, right? You know, we have in college we have classes in the morning time, like 8 o'clock in the morning, and they have them always at noon. And they have lunch, and people wonder why are they doing that? That's why they do it. At universities, like I say, the university, yeah, that's what they do. And amazingly, he said that the bar of Yahuwah was formed, the universe was formed by the bar of Yahuwah. Right, and they have what? He said what? The word for one is a Qah, as we know. It means one, number one, early. Well, each, every. It also means what? One for all, one another, one after another, one by one. United. When you talk about United Airlines, they see one for like call it United. United. Properly united. People wonder why. They say what? He said what? United. United Airlines. One. First. And you know there's a hasty flight too. When we become a car, when the flight is called a hasty flight. When we take that hasty flight out. And you know, how always because they understand it. But you know a car that get the aleph, the kaf, the kef, and the kaf, and the daleth. Got 1, 8, and 4, which leaves us to 13. You know what 13 is? When you do Yahusha, that's 8, 13, but then you have 4. What is 4? You got 4 corners, right? 4 malachis and the 4 corners of the earth. You got the 4 transition times in the 364-day cycle. Early summer. We got spring, early summer, late summer. This is where we're at. Transitioning over to autumn. Amazingly here, it just got cold. Like it's cold already. Clockwork. It's like the temperature didn't drop. Why? Because early winter. Moving toward the shortest day. Right? Already on clock. Right? Sequence. This thing is already on sequence. Right? So you have water. It's about a water gate. We just talk about the water gate. We were going to pull the word about a water gate. The word for water is ma'im. It means waters. Right? Danger, violence, right? Because it can't be violent. Water. That's what we talk about. Sadiq Ba. Sadiq Ether. Right? Sadiq Mazun. Sadiq balances. Right? He's talking about he's about the water gate. Singular. On the pulpit of wood. And he was made for the purpose. And he brought the book of the Torah, and guess what? And all who could understand it. Understanding what they heard, right? But we're gonna see. Everybody understand. Because some people think, I understand, right? You got meme, because you got mine, you got the mem, the yad, and the mem. We used to 90, which equals to 9. Amazingly, they were by the water gate. And amazingly, how many days, equals to 90, how many days in a 364-day cycle per quadrant? 90 days. And then you add an extra day. And then you go to the next transition. Amazingly, he was by the water gate. And amazingly, it's in a 360 degrees. By the water gate. They're all by the water gate. Yeah, it's 90 days. You add an extra day. And you people wonder why all this is important. They were all at a car as one man waiting at the water gate. And he had a book of the Torah. What did he get ready to open up? Man, he was opening up the entranceway for you. People don't even know it. He was opening up a gateway. Well, the word for gate is sha'ar. He was opening up a gateway for you. Right? Sha'ar, right? It means gate, entrance, gate, space inside the gate. Sha'ar. It says of a palace, a royal castle. People say, what do you mean a castle? You ever been in a castle? You got these big mansions, them castles. Them palaces. Yeah, that's how his home is. It's a gate, man. It's a palace. He said, what are you on? He said, you coming to the palace. You ain't coming up here. Like people say, why you shut the door? He's like, look at here. You see this palace right here where my mother and father at? You ain't coming here in presence of my mother and father and bringing that in my palace with my mother and father. Like, you have to look at that. And people say, why the children, why the human beings, why are we not like that toward our parents? Like, nah, because we ain't got no castle. We ain't living like how am I supposed to live? Like, he's like, nah, you ain't coming up in here bringing that in the presence of my parents? Why? Because my parents, my mother and father, they gonna say something, and you might die. Right, you know how it is. When we look at that. So you got the shin, the iron, and the rosh. Sha'ar. Right? Shin, iron, and the rosh. You got the shin is 300, the iron is 70, and the rosh is 200. He was the, what? 570. 570. He was the 12. How many gates are there in the New Jerusalem? 12 gates. 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the west. Sha'ar. Yeah, the 3 gates. 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the west. Isn't that something, right? 12 gates. He said, man, he's at the gates. He's like, man, at the gates. 12 tribes, right? So this is right. Bereshit 1:1. It says, in the beginning, Elohim created the Shamayim and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Elohim was hovering on the face of the waters. What did they have? They had knocking on a pulpit of wood. On a platform, they had him above. He said, and the Ruach Elohim was moving on the face of the water. And Elohim said, let there be order. Let there be light. And there was light. Isn't it evening time right now? I mean, it's darkness. It's darkness over the face of the deep. He said, let there be order. And there was order. And Elohim saw the light, and it was good. I mean, he said it was Taruah. And everybody was a Qahalath. It's good. It's a good thing to be a Qahalath. And he says what? And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. He separates the light from the darkness. He said, well, why he call people to not do things and not operate in a certain way during this time? Why? Because he's separating you from light and darkness. I'm putting a difference between the clean and unclean. I'm putting a difference between Or and Shah. And it says, and Elohim called the Or Yum, in the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, Akkad Yum. It is symbol as Akkad Ish. Akkad Yum. The first day. What day is it? The first day of the 7th month. Right? It's the first day of the 7th month. Right? When you look at this, of course we know this. You got the house, the Ba'ith, Bereshit, the house, then you have the word Rashid. That means the house, the beginning. Bara, the creation of the Elohims, the gods. And then you go all the way to verse 1 and 5, it says, right? Uahaya, what that is? Bara Yum Akkad. Bakar Yum Akkad, sorry. Uahaya Bakar Yum Akkad, right? Evening, morning, Akkad Yum. The beginning of the house, the creation of the God. Why he going to put people in the wood? Why do you think he was instructing everybody? Why do you think he was giving people the Torah? This is a Qahalath. And Taruah is good to be a Qahalath. Right? So, Mashali 4:7 says the beginning of wisdom is this. Get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Right? And that's the beginning of a Qahalath. That's the beginning of being a Qahalath. Being one. If people don't have the understanding of human da'ah, then guess what? There's no Akkad inside of man, woman, or child. And there's no Akkad inside of man, woman, or child, then the child ain't gonna know what to do. What the child gonna do? When Satan come to him and be like, hey, I want to take you to another planet. I want to take you to the cosmos. People like, I have to tell my mother and my father. I have never done anything without telling my mother and father what I'm getting ready to do. And Satan taking you, that's your child gone. And shot him off all the way into the cosmos, the Pegasus galaxy. And you be like, where my son at? He's been taken. Where my daughter at? He's been taken. Like you see all the sex trafficking do today. Satan come and creep into the house or creep in the phone, and what do they do? On the internet, and what do? He's snatching people up. Just that quick. And people be wondering why things are where they are, because people ain't a cop. When you're a card, then you understand it. And everybody's trusting each other, and then guess what? The card allows people, when you keep it 100, like you keep it 1, ain't nobody, they say, there's not going to be no clear, no guilty. When you put it in everybody's one. Right? And that's just the truth. Right? So this is Bereshit 1:26 through 26 and 23 through 27. It says, and Elohim said, let us make Adam in our Salim and Damu. after our demuth likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the Shamayim, over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. And so Yahuwah Elohim created Adam in his own image. Yahuwah created him. Males, Zakar, and female, Nakabah, he created him. So he made them in his image. And guess what? Aydahchay, let us accomplish this. And by accomplishing it, right, Adam right here, right, Salim Damuth, right, when you go down to verse 27, right, you have right here, you have Zakar, Wu, and Nakabah, and female, Barak, right, I think, right, you have the very oneness of it, because they're already one. It says Zakar joined to Nakabah. With a Wu, with a chip pad. We're joined together as one. As one. That's why they're all together as a Akkad. To be a Akkad is to be joined together. How Yahuwah made it. And let me guess, this was bad when he made this? No, this was good. This is Taruah. This is what makes, he said good works. Then he said everybody talk about good works. Good works are done in the Akkad. Good works are done in the Akkad. Why? Because it was good when he made this. It was good when he was in the Akkad, and it was good here. Or Taruah. Right, same thing. Bereshit 2:18 to 24. And then Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good that Ish or Adam should be alone. So he's talking about Adam. He says, I will make him a helper, a Azar fit for him. An Azar. What type of Azar? Now out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the Shamayim and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Why would he bring them to him to see what he would call them? And whatsoever the Adam called every living creature, that was his name. The man gave names to all the livestock and the birds of the Shamayim and every beast of the field, but to Adam there was not found an Azar for him, because every single thing that he is a part of, even the Nakabah of himself, the male and female within, they're all a part of him. Even the very animals that he created for him, that's all part of him. Everything that he has and everything he's talking about, everything he's naming and looking at, he's like, where my helper at? Where my Azar? He's looking, all these are a part of him. Even the animals. So Yahuwah Elohim called a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed its place with its flesh. Some translation says it's what? 13th rib. Right? And he says, and the rib that Yahuwah Elohim had taken from Adam, he made it to an Isha and brought her to Adam. Then the man said, this is at last bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called Isha. He went back to the same thing that he was doing before he went to sleep. As soon as he woke up, speak these words when you're sitting up in the house and you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you go to sleep, and when you rise up. Isha. He's doing the same thing he did when he woke up. He must work while it's day. He will not come, can't nobody work. He got right back up. As soon as he woke up, he said, why he says Yahuwah speaks once, yet twice, in the vision and dream, in deep sleep of the night. Why? So he may seal your instructions, and he may hide pride from men. He said he got right back up and he said, Isha. And guess what he said? Then the man said, this is at last bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called Isha. He says, because she was taken out of the man. Why? Because he was taken out of me. She is connected to me. She is a Akkad. She was a Akkad with me when I didn't see her, and she's a Akkad with me now when I see her. I see her now, so she's a Akkad with me now. I didn't see her before because she was inside of me. But then now I see her right in front of me. So now he's saying, you taken out of me. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and shall hold fast to his Isha, and they shall be a Akkad, flesh. 1. They shall be a Akkad. 13. They shall be a Akkad. They should be a Akkad. Everything works in a Akkad. People saying why? It all works in a Akkad. Nothing works outside of that. Nothing. It's good. A Akkad is good. So people saying, oh, to be this way, to be that way, to be separate. No, that ain't good. To be a Akkad is good. Why? He said, shall a man leave father and mother? No, it's actually man and woman. Because remember, Adam. They both got to do it. right? And you go through the Torah, you can find proof of that. You can find proof of that. It ain't just each. And he was like, why did they say that? Because they are cod flesh. Why? Because when you understand these things, you understand why Abraham and Sarah, when they left, they didn't ever go back. He said, why they didn't go back? Because they had to keep going forward. How you say, pushing forward. On Qahalath. Right? So this is Ya'u'ah 1 and 5. It says, go to Taruah and sound the alarm on my Chudash mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuwah is coming. And it's coming. It's coming, right? And it's near, a day of darkness and gloom. Did we just talk about the first day of creation? It's darkness, right? It says a day of clouds and thick darkness, like blackness, and there is spread upon the mountains a great and powerful people. A powerful people. Their like has never been before and never will be again. After them, through the years of all generations, fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is like the Garden of Eden. It's just like the Garden of Eden. It's just like the gun. Before them, in front of them. But behind them a desolation and wilderness, and nothing escapes them. It's in front of them like a gun, but this powerful people, they walk in, and then everything burning up. Why? Why is everything burning up? Their appearance is like horses, and like war horses. They run as with rumbling of chariots. They leap on the tops of mountains, like the crackling of a flame of fire devouring the stubble, like a powerful army drawn for battle. Just like when you see a brush fire. Just like you see fire on top of the mountain, and everything starts burning up. You said, you ever seen a mountain fire? That fire be burning everything up. Crackling flame on top of a mountain. Scorching everything. He said, a powerful people. Such as there never was. He said, blow the Taruah, blow the shofar. Right? That word for trumpet is shofar. Blow the ram's horn. Blow the ram's horn. Where the ram's at? Where you gonna find a ram at? You gonna find a ram on a mountain. You gonna find a ram on a mountain. You gonna find a ram down on. You gonna find a ram on a mountain. Why do you think Abraham he had the ram? He used to kill his son. Where the ram was at? Caught in the thickets. He found a ram on a mountain. He says a horn, a blowing horn, right? But if you look at this word shofar, you got the shin, the woo, the pa, and the rosh. Shan equals 300, woo equals 6, pa equals 80, and rosh is 200. What is that equal to? Keep saying, what is that equal to? Right? You got 200, you got 200, you got 300, that's 500, 580, 586. 586 equals to what? You got 14, right? 19. You add up all the different, all of them. 586 equals to 19. 9 plus 1 equals to 10. 10 equals to 1. A cop. Blow the Taruah, the shofar, it's our own, as a cop. Sound the alarm on my Chudash hill as a cop. For the day of Yahuwah is coming, and it's going to be a darkness and not light. Just like it was in the beginning, on the first day of creation. This is the first day of the 7th month. Darkness right now on the face of it. He said what? Sounded as a cod. Sounded as a cod, right? It's Yahusha, Joshua 6, 1 through 20. Now Jericho was shut up on the inside and outside because the people of Yasharal, none went out and none came in. They blocked that thing. And Yahuwah said to Yahusha, that's Joshua's name. And remember Joshua's name was Husha, with salvation, but it was changed on Mashah to Yahusha. Yah is salvation. The seed of continual life, son of Noon, right? It says, see, I have given Jericho into your hand. Jericho, it says, in his hand, with its king and its mighty men of valor. And ye shall march around the city. All the men of war going around the city at once, at one time, as a cod. Thus shall you do for 6 days. How long? We got 6 days you labor, self yourself. Notice how he's doing everything according to the beginning. You labor for 6 days, 7 priests or Kahan, Shby'ay, Kahan shall bear Shby'ay trumpets or shofar. How seven priests gonna walk with shofar? They're gonna do it as one. The shofar equals to one. They're gonna do it as one. 7 priests shouting as one. And it says what? Of ram's horns before the ark. On the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times. 7 times. What is the beginning? This is the first day of the 7th month. 7 times. And the priest shall blow the Taruah, and when they make a long blast with the ram's horn as one, when you hear the sound of the Taruah, then all the people shall shout. That word for shout is ruah. They shall ruah. They shall ruah with a great Taruah. So they're going to ruah with a great Taruah. So ruah is when they sound. Taruah is when it's together as a car. They said ruah with a great Taruah, and the wall of the city will fall flat when everybody is car. Nothing will be impossible for you when you're a car. He was saying, why? He said of all the languages in Bereshit chapter 11. He said they were all one language and one speech. And nothing will. He said this is what they do. Nothing will be impossible for them to accomplish. And it says, and the people shall go, everyone straight before him. He said, why did he said, leave me your righteousness because of your namesake. Make thy way straight before my face. He said, who will make your way straight? He said, trust in who with all your heart. And he will make straight your path. He said, everyone straight before him. So Yahushua, the son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, take up the ark of the covenant and let the 7 or Shby'ay Kahan bear 7 trumpets and rams before the ark of Yahuwah. And he said to the people, go forward. Go forward. Push forward. What does that mean? Co-op. He says, a man of knowledge, a wise man is strong. A man of knowledge enhances his might. And he said, enhances. A mock's co-op. Push forward. Selah, succeed. March around the city and let the armed men pass before the ark of Yahuwah. Right? They all one. It says the word for blow is taka. This is blow the Taruah. The word for blow is taka. It means to blow, to clap. That's all it was clapping. Taka. To sound and thrust, to give a blow. It means to strike or clap your hands. Clap your hands. It means to be blown, to strike, to slap. Clang, clap, drop, clang, clang, clap. Right? That's what it means. It means to thrust. People say, what do you mean taka? Blow the trumpet, blow the Taruah. He said, what's the Taruah? You. Your body is an instrument. Clap your hands. Say something, right? Disturb Satan. And that's what it does. It disturbs him when you do it. He said, blow it, right? So the word for shout is ruah. He said when they hear the trumpets of the Taruah as one man, he says, when they shout, ruah. Ruah. And it says what? To shout, to raise a sound, to give a blast, to shout in triumph. Right? You gotta be confident in triumph. The sound of a signal is an applause. A shout is an applause when you do that. You ever see people, yeah, yeah? Right? People be in a concert or when somebody doing a great performance, they're confident. Or when their team scores a touchdown, or when you see people do things, they clapping. Why? Because they're in a ruah. They're giving a ruah, a sound blast as one man, as a car. That's what they do. You know, an athlete exercises their self-control and all things. They may vary crown, but we in the parachute crown. It's the same thing. When we look at it, it says shout. Shout for joy. It says what? Split the ears with sound. Blow an alarm. Shout and give a blast. Ruah. Ruah. Right? The word for great shout is Taruah. That's what we say. The feast of Taruah. Qahalath Taruah, right? The feast of Taruah. Alarm sound signal. Tempest. It's only an alarm when everybody's a car. It ain't no alarm when nobody's a car. Sound of Taruah. Shout. Blast of an arm of joy. It says joy. Joy. Simcha. Clamor. A battle cry. It ain't only a battle cry when everybody's a car. It's only a battle cry when everybody is caught. When everybody, how Shaul said, I would hope of all things speak the same thing, we know the vision. Why? There's only a card. It only happens when you're a card. It don't happen when you're not. It don't. Right, and then people say, oh, it's a card. No, and all the expulsion that people have done, all the things that people have done, yeah, you can look at all the things that people have done over time, over years. There's nothing to card anymore because everybody's seeking at their own game. It's the truth. Right? So this is, continue to verse 8. And just as Yahusha had commanded the people, the 7 Kahan bearing the 7 trumpets and the ram's horn before Yahuwah went forward, blowing the trumpets with the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah following them. So when Yahushua Mashiach, who's the head of the body, ain't that something? He the head of the body. He gave the command to the Kahan, the 7 Kahan, and all the people, they all followed it. Because they all following one man. And they were obedient to what Yahushua said. Verse 9 says, the armed men were walking before the priests who were blowing the Taruah, and the rear guard was walking after the ark, while the Taruah blew continually. And he kept doing it. But Yahushua commanded people, you shall not shout or make your voice heard, neither shall any word go out of your mouth, until the day I tell you to shout. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. He said, man, Yahushua's like, man, everybody listen to these people. He said, my sheep, they ain't listening to me. They listen to me. And he said, then you shall shout. He said, why you gotta listen to his voice? Can you hear his voice? He was like, what? Can you hear his voice? Because the saints said that you were gonna take the kingdom, but you gotta be able to hear this man's voice. And he was like, man. People say, you better get a higher consciousness state. Get your alignment right. How you say, get your consciousness and your frequency in tune. Because you're going to have to hear this man's voice and know when to shout. And it says, so he caused the ark of Yahuwah to circle the city 360 degrees. Circle the city 360 degrees and blowing it to Ruah. 360 degrees. People say, why are you going 364 degrees? Why he made the circle on the face of the earth, on the deep? Why you put a cube on the surface of the deep? The sphere. He made them circle it around and around. Why? Because you think about that. And it says, the city going about it once. He said he made them circle the city going about it once. And they came into the camp and spent the night in the camp. Then Yahushua rose early in the morning, because that's when we do our sacrifices. And the priests took up the ark of Yahuwah, and the 7 Kahan, bearing the seven trumpets of ram's horns, before the ark of Yahuwah walked on, and they blew the Taruah continually. And the armed men were walking before them, and the rear guard were walking after the ark, Yahuwah, while the Taruah blew continually. And the second day, they marched around the city once, and returned to the camp. So they did it for 6 days. So they walked around 6 days in the spirit. 9. Says, in 15 it says, on the 7th day they rose early at dawn, when the sun rises, and marched around the city in the same manner 7 times. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Right? 9, 18, 20. What? 9, 18, what? 27, right? What else? What's after 27? 36, what's that 36? 45, what's that? 54, 63. Right? It was a 9. The 6th day, right? And on the 7th day, they rose early at dawn at day and marched around the city the same manner 7 times. And it was on the day that they marched around the city, it was on that day they marched around the city 7 times in the spirit. How many celestial chariots are there? 7. How many circular chariots? 7. Cool on the surface of the deep? 7. And they walked around in a circle. People say, oh, he's so precise. People have no idea. 7 celestial circles. 7 celestial chariots. Abraku, Qahalath, Tanaf, Ruah. verse 16 says, and at the seventh time, when the priest had blown the Taruah, Yahushua said to the people. So you got to hear his voice. Remember, Yahushua talked. Now we're talking about Joshua in this sense, but you think about Yahushua Mashiach. Is one in tune in his frequency? Does one believe on him, as the Torah said, right? It said, and Yahushua said to the people, Ruah, for Yahuwah has given you the city. At the seventh trumpet. At the seventh time. When they brought around the seventh time, what is it, the first day of the seventh month? And after that was over, what did he say? It's the first day of the seventh month. What he told us to do? You shall go around, he says, for Yahuwah has given you the city, and the city and all that is within it shall be devoted to Yahuwah for destruction. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are in it with her in her house shall live, because she hid the messengers whom we sent. But you keep yourselves from the things devoted to destruction. So that's idol worship, hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, complaining, malice, adultery, fornication, lying, right? All these attributes, evil, raw, gossip, slander. That's all destruction. All that's going to be in the mouth too. Rivalries, dissension. Isn't that something? He said, that's the word, lest when you have devoted them, you take any of the devoted things and make the camp of Yashral a thing of destruction and bring trouble upon it. He said, why you gotta be a cop? Why is the household to be a cop? Because you can bring trouble in your house if you have these things. You got idols. He said, oh, you got idols. It says, but as all the silver and gold and every vessel of the bronze and iron are produced to Yahuwah. You know that silver and that gold, you gotta get that, right? But he says what? They shall go into the treasury of Yahuwah. He said, the wicked store up, the righteous don't come in. So the people shouted. After they heard all that, they shouted, Ruah, right? They shouted Ruah, and the trumpets were blown. And as soon as the people heard the sound of Taruah, the people shouted a great shout, and the wall fell down flat. That's how you accomplish that. So that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they captured the city. They were one. This second Chronicles, Davarim, Hayamim 36, 16. 16, right? That's where it starts. It says, began to reign, and he reigned 11 years. And did what was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, his Elohim. He did not humble himself before Yirmiyahu did not be, who spoke from the mouth of Yahuwah. He also rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by Elohim. He stiffened his neck and hardened his heart against turning to Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yasharal, and all the officers and the priests and the people likewise were exceedingly unfaithful. So it was a person in the head, and they were unfaithful. But you see Yahushua, what were they doing? They were everybody unfaithful to him. They were crying. They were like, man, one man, everybody was doing what he said. You look at Yahushua Mashiach, the head of the body, right? But you look at him, he says, verse 8 says, following all the abominations of the Goyim. They were doing everything they were doing. They were unfaithful because they were following all the abominations of the Goyim. Right? And it says right here, yes, they were unfaithful, following all nations. It says, and they polluted the house of Yahuwah that he had made Chudash in Jerusalem. Right? That's how you can pollute your own house too. That's how you can pollute you. Yahuwah, the Elohim of their fathers, sent persistently to them his messengers, because he had not had compassion on the people and on his dwelling place. But they kept mocking the messengers. They kept mocking the messengers. Every time he sent, they were mocking the messengers of Elohim, despising the words and scoffing his Navi'im, until the wrath of Yahuwah rose against the people, until there was no remedy. And you got Mashah, and people went to follow the land, and there was no remedy. These 10 times, right? You got all these attributes. There was no remedy after they kept mocking and scoffing. He's like, ain't no remedy. No remedy. He said, I gotta do some things, right? This is Yeshayahu 42 and 13. Yahuwah goes out like a mighty man. Like a man of war, he stirs up his zeal. He cries out. He shouts aloud. Right? He shows himself mighty against his foes. For a long time, I have held my shalom. I held my peace. I ain't said nothing. But guess what he said? I have kept still and restrained myself. Now I will cry out like a woman in labor. He finna stop with Taruah. Or you mean shofar, ruah. You know what I'm saying? Ruah. I'm gonna shout. And I will gasp and pant. I'm gonna make a shout just like a woman in travail. And I will lay waste mountains, hills, and dry up their vegetation. How you gonna dry up vegetation? Ain't gonna send no rain. Don't wisdom drop all that rain? Just like rain and snow, so it's the bar that go out of his mouth. He said, but I'm gonna make all vegetation. And I will turn the rivers into islands. How you gonna turn rivers into islands? Dry up the water. You can walk on it, then you can walk right through it. It's gonna be an island. It says, and dry up the pools. Because when you dry up the pools in the water, nobody's taking a bath, first of all. Nobody got no water for their crops. Right? And I will lead the blind. I'm gonna do all that, and I'm gonna lead the blind in a way that they do not know. I'm gonna lead the blind in a way they don't even know. In the past, they have not known, I will guide them. He said, because the people that think they see, they think they see, man, I'm going to drop the rivers and the pools and the rivers and make them islands. But the ones who are blind, I'm leading them in a way that they did not know and things they haven't even known. Right, so this is Yochanan 12, 27, 36. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? But for this purpose I have come for this hour. I've come for this appointed time, 7th day, 1st day of the 7th month. What did he say? Father, kabod your name. Then a voice came from Shby'ay, I have kaboded, and I will do it again. The crowd that stood by there and heard it said it had thundered. Others said a malach had spoken to him. Yahusha answered, this voice came for your sake, not mine. What do you think that voice came to Yahusha when they were going to see it? It came for their sake. It came for their sake. Now is the judgment of this world. Now will the ruler of this world be cast out. And when I am lifted up from the earth, I am lifted up. I'm going to draw all people to me. To me. To myself. He said, why is knocking y'all on the pulpit of wood that was made for the purpose? On a platform. He said, I'm going to draw people to myself. He said, I'm going to do it. And he said this to show what kind of death he was going to die. So the crowd answered him, we have heard in the Torah that the Mashiach remains forever. How can you say that the son of Adam must be lifted up? Who is the son of Adam? So Yahusha said to them, the light is among you for a little while longer. So you know when the sun go up, the sun will go down. It's only there for a little longer. Just like people get the sun, he said, I'm going to work while it's day. He said, what? Walk while you have the light. Walk while the sun up. Lest darkness overtake you, because the sun is ready to go down. It's going to be darkness over the face of the deep. It's going to be darkness again. The one who walks in darkness does not know where he is going. So you're in darkness, you don't know where you're going. You're going to need somebody to lead you in the way because you're blind to where things you didn't even know. He says, where he's going, while you have the light, believe in the light, that you may become the sons of light. Believe in the light, or higher from the beginning, right? Believe in the light, not the sun that was made on the 4th day of creation. You're talking about what was made on the 1st day. Right, so it says, Luke Oriyah 22:63. Now the men who were holding Yahusha in custody were mocking him, and they beat him. Isn't that what they did to the Navi'im? Came persistently to tell them he was doing evil and wrong to the unfaithful ones. He was coming persistently, and they were mocking them. Why? They kept doing it over again. So guess what? Here come Yahusha, right? Here he comes. They also blindfolded him. He said, I'm going to lead the blind where they don't know. He said, I'm going to lead them. I'm going to lead them in a way they don't know. And they kept asking him, Nabi, prophesy, Nabi, who it is that struck you? Right? So Nabi, right? Because that's what they did. And they said many other things against him, blaspheming him. Blasphemy too. They blaspheme. They blaspheme. Matthew 27, 32 through 50. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there. And over his head they put a charge against him, which read, "This is Yahushua, the Malach of Yahweh." This is Yahushua, the Malach of Yahweh. What do you mean, the Malach of Yahweh? You mean the leader, the ruler? You mean like Yahushua that was over them when they went to take the city? He said, "This is Yahushua, the Malach of Yahweh." And he said, what? Then the two robbers who were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left, and those who passed by derided him. They were one on the left and one on the right. And he said they derided him and did what? Wagging their heads, saying, "You who destroyed the temple and rebuilt it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Yahuwah, come down from the cross." So also the chief priests and the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, "He saves others, he cannot save himself. He is the Malach of Yasharal. Let him come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in Yahuwah, Elohim, deliver him now, if he desires him, for he said, I am the son of Yahuwah." They were mocking him, the very same people, the scribes, the elders, and the leaders that were obedient to Yahushua during the time when they took Jericho. These same leaders and scribes and Pharisees and the priests are mocking him now. Why are they mocking him? Because they don't understand what he's saying. They don't understand his speech. He said, "My sheep hear my voice and they follow me." They're not hearing his voice anymore. They're not hearing his voice anymore. Because when they were hearing his voice, they were obedient. They would do exactly what he said. He said, man, after the 7th time, they don't walk around the 7 times in the sphere. He said, at the 7th time, he said, I want y'all to rule, but I want you to save these people. I want you to say that the prostitute, I want you to save everybody else. And then when they shouted, the walls came tumbling down and they went into the city. They gave us a sound vibrational frequency as one as a cloud, and they knocked the wall down and changed the actual density of the rocks. And the density of the rocks was changed, and the frequency actually melted the rocks and allowed them to fall down. But persistently, they kept actually sending the actual frequency at the same place every single time. They shouted and went back. Like they shouted and went back. They kept doing it over and over again. The trumpet sound, releasing the density of the rocks, changing the density. And then finally, when they walked around the 7 times, in the 7 celestial circles, they said, Ruah. And they shouted shofar, and the walls came tumbling down, and they went into the city after the shot. And it says what? And if he desires him, for he said, I am the son of Yahuwah. And the robbers who were crucified him also reviled him in the same way. They were mocking him too. They all mocked him persistently, over and over again. Just like he said, when I sent them persistently, the unfaithful ones, they mocked him over again. Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness over the land to the knockout. You know what said that? Go to Taruah and Saul and Aydah. It's going to be a day of thick darkness. He said it's going to be a powerful people, such as there never was. It's such as there never was. He said before them, it's like the Garden of Eden. Behind them, it's a desolation. You know what he said? And with a loud voice saying, Aydah, Lama Sabachthani. He said from the 6th to the 9th hour. It was darkness over the land to the 6th to the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried out with a loud voice saying, Aydah, Lama Sabachthani. That is, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? He cried out. What did people do when he told them to go around 7 times? They cried out, Ruah. They cried out. He said, man, after they went around the 7th time, he said, you know what? Cry out. Cry out as a Ruah, as a Qah. As a Qah, he was the 13. And you look at Yahushua's name, he was the 13. As a Qah. And guess what? It says, Aydah, and that is my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Yahoo. And one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it him to drink. But the other said, wait, let's see whether Yahoo will come and save him. And Yahushua cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up the Ruah. He yielded up the Ruah. Remember, Miami equals a 9. Seven times they walked around. 360 degrees 7th time, he said, shout. And they shouted. And the walls came tumbling down and the people entered the city, right? That's what happened. And guess what it said? He yielded up the Ruach. Why? Why did he yield the Ruach? Because the Ruach was moving upon the face of the waters. When he was over the people, he was moving upon the face of the waters. The people didn't even know him too. They didn't even understand that was him speaking. He said, when I tell you to shout, shout. Why do you think Yahushua shouted right here? He said, okay, it's time to shout. You can shout now. It's time for you to shout. You can shout now. Because he's obedient. He was up here from morning to midday. How long? He was crucified in the 3rd hour. And from the 6th to the 9th hour, he was up there. That's 6 days. 6 hours. And after all that was over, it says about the 9th hour, about the end of the 9th hour until the 9th hour, right? Until the 9th hour. So once the 9th hour was almost over, that's what he did. He cried out. He didn't even wait. He waited, but boom, 9th hour, it's 7. It's time to shout now. I gotta get up out of here. It's time to take the city. It's time to enter the city, right? Right, this is Matthew 27, 51, continue on. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two. What happened when he shot it in Jericho? The walls came tumbling down. The walls came tumbling down. From the top to the bottom. And the earth shook. It was an earthquake. Why do you think that sound vibration of frequency that they did it as a cod? It shook the ground and the actual rock split in two. Oh, you thought I was talking about Yahushua and Yahshua and the Kahan and the 7 priests? You thought I was talking about them? You thought I was talking about those powerful people? You thought I was talking about them when the earth shook, the ground shook before them? You thought I was talking about them? No, it was talking about him. He was always talking about him. He said, when I'm lifted up, I'm going to draw all people to myself. I'm going to draw all people to Yahushua Mashiach. I'm going to draw all the attention right back to him. When you honor the Son, you honor the Father. Again, like it should be. And the earth shook and the rocks split too, and the tombs were open, and many of the bodies of the Chudashim had fallen asleep were raised, and coming out of the tombs after the resurrection, they went into the city. What happened after the walls fell when the walls came tumbling down after they shot at one man in the car? The walls came tumbling down and they entered into the city. Yahushua used some people from another world, another realm, just to even show people all power is given to me. Just to show people it wasn't even about me. It was all about me. I'll bring people from the other world, from the dead, and show you. And they appeared right unto me in the city. He said, took the city. The Qahalath gonna take the city. He said, many of the saints who had fallen asleep, they took the city. The saints, the Qahalath gonna take the city. And he did this during the time when he was there. And he was like, man, you telling me I can't do this? I've already shown you how to do it. So when people come, when it actually happens, in the future, what are they gonna be like? Oh, he already did this. And people don't even know. He already did it. At the last trump. At the 7th trumpet. The dead in Mashiach gonna rise first. Did they? That's why some people say, oh, the resurrection has happened before. No, it hasn't. He's just showing you right here. He's only showing right here that to those who think it ain't gonna happen. To people think, oh, the resurrection is past. That's what they think. That's what they think. It hasn't. It hasn't happened yet. But it's just showing you that it did during this time. But they didn't know that the purpose of the resurrection in this was to fulfill what happened during the time of Yahushua when they took the city. They didn't even know it. The resurrection is already past. What are you talking about? Not even knowing. Like I said, ignorance is a great evil. And who produces error and doubt? Who said the resurrection is already past? Mr. Satan himself. Right, so here we go. And it says, and when the centurion and those who were with him keeping watch over Yahushua saw that the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, truly, this was the son of Yahuwah. There you are, man, look at it. But this is the son of Yahuwah. Boy, you see all this power? He's like, man, everything's shaking and moving and people getting up and going in the world. Right, people getting up out of the grave. Right, so this is Yahushua 19 and 28. It says, after this, Yahushua, knowing all that was now finished, he said to fulfill the scripture, I thirst. A jar full of sour wine stood there. So they put a sponge full of sour wine on hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. When Yahushua had received the sour wine, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave it the roar. It is finished. 6 days later, they walked around 6 days. He said, on the 7th day, they shot. Right? And he said, what? Go around the 7th time on the 7th day. And then shot after the 6th time. He said, man, it is finished. It is finished. I did this thing. Bereshit 2:1. Thus the Shamaim of the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. On the 7th day, Elohim finished his work that he had done. And he rested the Shabbat day. Why didn't they were laboring into their rest? They entered their rest. That's what they did. From all his work that he had done. So Elohim barak the Shabbat day and made it Chudash. Because on it, he rested from all his work that he had done in creation. This is the first day of the 7th month, right? A Shabbat too. It's amazing. It's a day when 7 meets 1. It's a day when Kah meets rest. It's a day when the Kah and rest meet at the same time. Okay. So this is Yochanan 19:29-31. And since the day of preparation, so that the bodies would not remain on the cross in the Shabbat, for the Shabbat was a high day, and the Yahudim asked Pilate that the legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and the other who had been crucified with him. But they came to Yahushua and saw that he was already dead, and they brake not his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced him in his side with a spear, right? True, it says pierced with a spear, and at once came out blood and water. He said, and Yeshayahu, he said, man, now he said, I've been holding my peace. I've been silent for a while. He said, but now I'm gonna cry like a woman in labor. I can't even hold it back. I've been holding my peace. He ain't said nothing on that took on that totality for a while. He's like, man, that's why he cried out. He said, I'm gonna cry like a woman in labor. But then they pierced him inside. Now came blood and water. What comes out of a woman when she is birthed? Blood and water. He said, I'm gonna be just like a woman in labor. And then he says, he who saw it was born witness. His testimony is true. It's a true testimony. He saw it. And he knows he's telling the truth. Like, I ain't lying. And he says that you also may believe. How long are these people going to despise me and not believe and reject me? How long? For these things took place that the scripture might be fulfilled. Not a bone of him will be broken. And again, another scripture says, they will look on him whom he is praised. Remember Aydah? No work, no servile work, Aydah. Amazingly, Aydah has a head, and that's female. He said, I want to be like a woman in labor. And he did it at the 9th hour. He cried out, just like a woman in labor. He had the head and a female. Abide, serve, each. Aydah. Feminine. And he did that all at the same time. He was both abide and male and female. Because abide and Aydah are in the same word. He was both male and female. Let's make Adam in our own image. And amazingly, when you hit it, when you pierce him in the side, what hits the ground? Blood and water. What does that create? A drama. A Kah. He did it as a Kah. He did it as a Kah. He did it as a Kah. Both male and female. And then Ma'im, because you know Ma'im, when you pierce the thigh, can go to water and use a knife. 360 degrees. How many times they walk around? 7 times in a circle. 360 degrees. And then you add up 7 times what? 360 times 7. You do it, add it up, it gets all the way to 63. You add it up, it gets to 9. All at the same time. He said, not a bone in him was going to be broken. And he says, what? He said, but how long? He said, but I believe now. He said that you might believe this. Yeah, that's the only reason it's written, right? And this is Psalms 79:12 says, return sevenfold into the lap of our neighbors, the taunts or Qahalath with which they have taunted you, O Yahuwah. Because he said, I am my Father one. He said, they taunted you, Qahalath. What does this word Qahalath mean? He said, return them sevenfold. He said, return to them sevenfold for doing this. Qahalath means to reproach. The reproach that was on me, right? The reproach that was on me, that reproached you, Yahuwah. He said, return it to them sevenfold for doing it. Taunting, mocking, blaspheming. Remember they blasphemed? No, but he was Shby'ay, they hit him, they mocked him. Defy. Guess what it says? Taunt, to winter. Harvest time. Remain in harvest time. Isn't that what we're in? We just crossed into it. Early winter. It also means to expose, to pull off, spend the winter. This is early winter. This is the transition over to early winter. This is fall. Defame by stripping, specifically to betroth. He said, man, that's what they did. They taunted me. They blasphemed me. They defied me. He said, they reproached me. He said, return to him sevenfold. The word for sevenfold is Shby'ay. Shby'ay. Give it to them Shby'ay. Sevenfold, 7 times. That's like Shby'ay, like, yeah, 7 times. How many times they marched around the city? 7 times. 7 times they did it. They marched around the city 7 times and then they shouted, Ruah, Shafar, Ruah, Taruah. They shouted. They clapped their hands. That's what they did. Right? Ruah, right? He said Shby'ay, right? Mostly Proverbs 6:30. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his appetite when he is hungry. But if he is caught, Judas, how much did he give Yahushua for? 30 pieces of silver. And he was a thief. Remember when they came to him? He said, man, you come to me and you could not always read. You came to me with swords and knives and what else? And clubs, like a thief. Like I'm a thief or something. But who was the thief? Yahudah. He said, who are you? He said, I am he. And he hit the ground. He said, guess what he said? And if he is caught, you caught now, he will pay Shby'ay sevenfold. You gotta pay for it. You gotta pay sevenfold now. I want sevenfold. He will give all the goods of his house. I want everything. Sevenfold. Shby'ay, right? This is Leviticus 14-33. But if you will not listen to me, right? Leviticus 14:33. If you will not listen to me and will not do all these commandments, if you spurn my statutes, and if your soul upholds my rules, so that you will not do all my commandments but break my covenant, then I will do this to you. I will visit you with panic and with wasting disease and fever that consumes the eyes and make the heart ache. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat. He's like, you don't know about it. And I will set my face against you, and you shall be struck down before your enemies. And it says what? Those who hate you shall rule over you, and you shall flee with none pursuers. And if in spite of all this you will not listen to me, then I will discipline you again sevenfold for your sins. Sevenfold. Sevenfold for your sins. And guess what he says? But he said right here, he said, you will sow your seed in vain, and your enemies shall eat it. And get what he says. And you shall again, for 7:46, and I will break the pride of your power. And I will make your heavens like iron, and your earth like bronze. And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield its increase, and the trees of the land shall not yield their fruit. He said, I'm going to do it sevenfold. Then, if you walk contrary to me and will not listen to me, I will continue striking you. I'm going to keep hitting you. Why do you think you kept hitting you? Why do you think you kept hitting me? Get a reed, smack him, smoke him in the face, smack him in the face again, saying, "Now you Mashiach," mocking him at the bottom. He said, "I'm going to strike you sevenfold for your sins." He said, "Return these people sevenfold, Tom. Reproaches, then approach me, who mocked you, who up on that totality. I will strike you sevenfold for your sins." He said, "If you won't listen to me again, and I will let loose." He said, "How long will these people not believe in me? They will reject me and despise me. And I will let loose the wild beasts against you, and you shall bereave you for your children, and you destroy your livestock, and make you few in number, so that your roads shall be deserted." Ain't nobody coming down your street. You know, people hoping that traffic, when you put like a market or like a booth, and they be like hoping that some traffic gonna come through, see who's gonna buy your stuff. He's like, "Man, ain't gonna be none of that." He said, "Ain't gonna be none of that." It said 23 to 26. And if by this discipline you are not turned to me, if I do it 7 times again, and then sevenfold again, 7, and I do it another 7 times, you will not turn to me. Then I will also walk contrary to you, and I myself will strike you sevenfold for your sins. I'm gonna do it again. And I will bring a sword upon you. Why did the Christian reach in the side? The 3rd time. He cried out the first and the 2nd time. And then after that, they pierced him in the side. He put a sword upon you. That shall execute vengeance for the covenant. I can't blow the water. Why? Because people are going to die. They should have died. Because they weren't keeping the covenant. They were unfaithful. They were worshiping their idols. But he said, "No. I'm going to cry out this time like a woman in labor." He said, "If you gather within your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of your enemy. And when I break your supply of bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in a single oven." You only got one oven with 10 people. 10 women shall bake in one oven. And amazingly, you add up 10, and you have 1 plus 3 equals 1. They're gonna put their bread in one oven as a cod. People saying, "You wanted to get to this point? You wanted to get to the point where we only got one oven, but you got 10 men breaking in one oven." And said, "This is the only way I'm gonna get y'all a cod. This is the only way I'm gonna get you one. I gotta take away all your stuff, because y'all don't want to get a cod. Everybody out there their own game, so guess what? I gotta take away all your stuff. That's the only way. I gotta take everything away, so all the women get together and be like, 'Hey, let's bake together,' and you only got one oven. You do it as a cod then." So it means like, if you won't listen, this is what's going to keep happening over and over and over again. And saying, "Shall dole out your bread again by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied." But you don't have nothing. Everybody going to, they say, ration it out. It's going to be rationed out. Verse 27-33. "But if you, in spite of all this, you will not listen to me." He said, he'll do all that, and then people still won't listen. Still won't be a cod. Still won't listen to him. He said what? "But walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you in fury, and I myself will discipline you sevenfold for your sin." Another 7 times. Like, how much stuff can you take? It says, "And you shall eat the flesh of your sons and your daughters, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters." You're going to start eating your kids. You're going to be so hungry. He said, "How long are they going to despise me and not listen to me? How long are they going to not believe in me?" He says, "And I will destroy the high places and cut down your incense and your altar." He said, "You're going to eat the sons of your sons, eat the flesh of your sons and daughters." How do you say, "You don't eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in me"? He said, "Us as the child was born, us as the son is given, and the government should be upon his shoulders. He should be called one of the council of the mighty Elohim, the Prince of Peace." He said, "You don't eat my flesh and drink my blood, you ain't got no life in you. You ain't got no life. No kind. And I will destroy your high places and cut down your incense altars and cast your dead bodies upon the dead bodies of your idols." He said, "I'm going to cast your dead bodies upon the dead bodies of your idols. And my soul will abhor you. And I will lay your cities waste and will make your sanctuaries desolate." Why will you who should cry out in the 7th hour, but at the 9th hour, right about out, He made it Qahalath, Aydah, and Ma'im, and the temple was written too. And he laid the city waste. It was an earthquake. The ground shook. And made their sanctuary a desert. Made everything a desert. Why do you think all that had to happen? He said, man, Yahushua Mashiach. He said, I'm going to draw all people to me after this over with. And I will not smell your pleasing aroma. And I myself will devastate the land, so that your enemies will settle on the land appalled at it. And I will scatter you among the Goyim, and I will unsheath the sword after you, and your land shall be a desolation, and your city shall be waste. People saying, why do you don't know where it's at now? He said, I'm going to do it sevenfold. If you don't listen to me, I'm going to keep doing it. Yahuwah, Joel 2:6-13. Before them, right, continue on from Joel chapter 2. It says, before them, peoples are in anguish, and their faces grow pale. Like warriors, they charge. Like soldiers, they scale the wall. He's talking about this great and powerful people. They march each on his way. They do not swerve from their paths to the left or the right. They do not jostle one another. Each marches in his path. Isn't that what they were doing with Yahushua? 7 times? They were marching. They burst through the weapons and are not halted. They leap upon the city, they run upon the wall. He said, with Yahuwah, I can run through a troop. With Yahuwah, I can leap over a wall. When Yahuwah, in the book of Yashua, when he cried out and he gave a loud shriek, what did he do? He put a dent in the ground and he leaped on the wall. Didn't he do that? It says, they climb up in the houses. He said, man, restore this person sevenfold. Matter of fact, let's take everything in the house. He said, man, punish this person sevenfold for taunting us, reproaching you. He said, man, he said, a thief, don't spot a thief if he still is satisfied sober. When he gets caught, he should restore sevenfold. He should have everything in his house. It says, they enter in through the windows like a thief. He said, you a thief, you stole, you got to get taken sevenfold. I got to take everything out of your house, and that you stole from me. You taunted me. You mocked me on the cross. You mocked me. So therefore, you sold me for 30 pieces of silver, so now I got to come take everything in your house because of what you did. And I'm going to come right through the window, take everything, like a thief. Just like you came at me with a thief. Y'all came at me with thief and swore that now like I was a thief. Guess what? I'm coming for you. Guess what he said? And he says, the earth quakes before them. They were crying out and the walls came something. Why didn't this earth shake? And the temple was written before them. And the heavens tremble. The sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars withdraw their shining. Yahuwah utters his voice before his army. What are you doing that with Yahushua? And everyone take the city? He will utter his voice, and everybody will listen. He said, my sheep hear my voice, they follow me. He said, I'm a good shepherd. I lay down my life for the sheep. We talking about how long you gonna believe in? People say it's a pressing. Either you believe it. He said, oh, I gotta hurry up and believe in Yahushua Mashiach. He said, do you believe in him? It says, and the stars will draw their shining. Yahuwah utters his voice for his army, for the camp is the camp. He's the camp, his camp. When he's talking about the camp today, he's talking about his camp. Yahushua Mashiach camp is different from everybody else's camp. It is a different camp. Right? His camp. And guess what it says? Is exceedingly great. He who executes his word is powerful. Well, he's powerful. He said, I'm going to have a powerful people. A great and powerful people, and this just never was. For the day of Yahuwah is great and very awesome. Who can endure it? Who's going to endure it? Who's going to endure this? Yet, even now, declares Yahuwah, return to me with all your heart, with fasting and weeping and with mourning, and rend your hearts and not your garments. Rend your hearts and not your garments. What are we getting ready to enter into? Atonement. We're getting ready to go into atonement. Kafar. Rend your heart and not your garments. Return to Yahuwah Elohim, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love, and relents over disaster. You can stop this. And relents over disaster. Who is he pronouncing this to? Who is he talking to? He's talking to the people he's trying to do. He said, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to turn you sevenfold. If you don't listen to me, I'm going to turn you sevenfold. If you don't listen to me, I'm going to turn you sevenfold. If you listen to me again, I'm going to turn you sevenfold. Then he said, I'm going to come in your house and get everything sevenfold. Because you were a thief. And you reproach me, I'm going to reproach you. Matter of fact, I'm going to give it to you sevenfold. This Revelation, Kazum 5:1. Then I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll written within on the back, sealed with 7 seals. How many seals? 7. 7 seals. 7, 7, 7, 7. Walk around the city 7 times. 7 seals. And I saw the mighty Malachi proclaim with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the scrolls and to break its seals? And no one in Shamayim or in earth or under the earth, that's 3 realms, 3 different worlds, was able to open the scroll or to look into it. And I began to weep loudly because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or to look into it. And one of the elders said to me, weep no more. Behold, the lion, the Ari of the Matah of Yehuda, the root of Daoud, has conquered. Well, he conquered death. So that he can open the scroll and its seals. He opened the seal. He said, man, I'm getting ready to open these seals, these 7 seals. I'm getting ready to get these people sevenfold for what they did. He said, you don't listen to me now? Yahushua, I ain't coming to fast 40 days before the message again. I ain't coming through that, going through that stuff again. I'm not doing that stuff again. You think I'm doing that again? No. Right? So this is Kazum, Revelation 6, 1-7. Now I watched when the Lamb opened one. We're going to go through this. Just go through them. One of the 7 seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures say with a loud voice, like thunder, come. And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and his rider had a bow, and a crown was given to him. And he came out conquering and to conquer. When he opened the 2nd seal, right, that's the 1st seal, he opened the 2nd one, then I heard a 2nd living creature say, come. And out came another horse, bright red, and this rider was permitted to take shalom from earth. Take peace from earth. Right? So that the people would slay one another, and he was given a great sword. And he said, I'm going to come after you with a sword after I scatter you. He said, I'm going to come after you with a sword after I scatter you. I'm going to come get you. And he said, and when he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the living creature say, come. And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and its rider was a pair of scales in the hand. And I heard it what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the living creature saying, a quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius. And do no harm to the oil. He said, now I'm going to make all these women bake one out of one other. I'll make them bake out of one other. As a cod, right? And then when he opened the 4th seal, I heard the 4 living creatures say, come. And look, behold, a pale horse. He said, no. And he said, before this armor, they're going to be all pale. Pale face. He said, pale horse. And his rider was death. And Hades had followed him. And they were given authority over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword and with famine and with pestilence and by the wild beasts. Man, he said, I'm not how your kids get killed by animals. Matter of fact, I'm going to send pestilence and famine on you. And you're going to ration out your food. When he opened the 5th seal, he said, I was under the altar of the souls of those who had been slain for the word of Yahuwah, for the witness they have borne. They cried out with a loud voice. They're talking about the Nabim, they mocked. And they killed. They sent persistently to them, and he mocked them, the unfaithful ones, right? He said, O sovereign, master, Chudash and true, how long will you judge and not avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? And they were given a white robe and told to rest a little longer until the number of these fellow servants and their brothers should be complete, who were to be killed as they themselves have been. That's the 5th seal. What feast is this? The 5th feast. This is the 5th feast. It says, when he opened the 6th seal, I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake. A great and powerful, man. His voice uttered before this army. Man, in your house, man, the sun, the moon, the stars. It says, a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the full moon became like blood. Why do you want to say it was an earthquake? Why do you want darkness on the man when he was up on the totality? It was all to show you what's going to happen. And it became like blood, and the stars of the sky, the Shby'ay, fell from the earth as a fig sheds its winter fruit when shaken by the gale. Isn't that what time it is? The fig tree is shedding its winter fruit. We just cross over into, we transition over into early winter. The fig comes in the summertime, and we just cross over into early winter. And it gets windy, and it's cold outside, the temperature dropping, man, it's crazy, right? And it says what? The sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up, and every mountain and island were moved out of its place. Then the kings of the earth, and the great ones, and the generals, and the rich, and the powerful, and every one, slave and free, hid themselves in caves and among rocks and mountains, calling to the mountains and rocks, saying, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne, from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of the wrath has come. Who can endure it? Joel said, who can endure it? Who can endure this? Who can do this thing? Who can endure it? It says, because on Revelation 8:1, it said, when the Lamb opened the 7th seal, there was silence in Shby'ay about a half an hour. So you know what happened in the 7th seal? What happened in the 7th trumpet when they were in Jericho? They cried out. Then I saw 7 Malachi who stand before him, Yahuwah, and 7 trumpets were given him. And I'm going to punish you. If you won't listen to me, I'm going to punish you 7 more times. 7-fold. 7-fold. And another Malachi came and stood at the altar of the golden censer, and he was given much incense to offer with the prayers of all the Qudashim on the golden altar before the throne, and smoke of the incense with the prayers of the Qudashim rose before Elohim, before the hand of the Malachi. Then the Malach took the censer and filled it with fire from the altar and threw it on the earth. And there were peals of thunder, rumbling, flashing, and lightning, and an earthquake. The earth shook. The earth, he said, you're going to be visited with by the Holy earthquake, fire, vapor of smoke, and storm, and tempest. He said, man, they're going to be thick, dark clouds. He said, you're going to be a great and powerful people, thick darkness, dark clouds, thunder, fire, vapor of smoke, earthquakes. He said, I'm going to punish you 7 more times. Then he said, Revelation 8:6, and the 7 Malachi with the 7 trumpets prepared to sound. He said, just like the 7 Qahalath, the Shby'ay, these 7 Malachi, you can't even see them, but they sound. And guess what? 7 trumpets sound. And then the first Malach sounded his trumpet, and hail and fire mixed with blood were hurled down upon the earth. And the third part of the earth was burned up, along with a third of the trees and the green grass. Burned in this place. Like he said, man, fire is like the Garden of Eden before them. But behind him is a desolation. Behind him is a desolation. That's what y'all all said. Behind him, he's going to punish you 7-fold for this stuff. If you don't listen to me, y'all still don't believe me, you know? Not even with me. You know, who should die, roll, and sing it. He said, verse 8 says, the second Malachi sounded his trumpet, and it sounded like it's something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. And a third of the sea turned to blood. A third of the living creatures of the sea died. And a third of the ships were destroyed. And the third Malachi sounded his trumpet, his Taruah. And a great star burning like a torch fell from the Shby'ay and landed on the third part of the rivers and on the springs of the water. The name of the star was wormwood. And the third of the waters were turned bitter, like wormwood, oil. And it says, and many people died from bitter waters, from poison waters, drinking poison water. People say, I don't care. Let the water, let the rock fall in the ocean. Let everything turn to poison. I don't care. Let all the green grass and the trees be burnt up. I don't care, you know how people are. What kind of spirit you got? Verse 17, then the fourth Malach sounded with his trumpet, and the third of the sun and the moon and the stars were struck, and the third of the stars were darkened, and the third of the day was without light, and the third of the night as well. So you talk about night and day being altered. Well, there ain't no one day and one night. I mean, no crops growing, no food. I mean, ain't nothing growing. All these taking place because nobody will listen to you. Nobody will listen to the Son Yahushua. Nobody will listen to him. We talking about the whole inhabitants of the earth. He said, I command every man everywhere to repent. Yahushua didn't die alone. He performed this Torah from the beginning to the end. Verse 13 says, and I observed and I heard an eagle flying overhead, calling in a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth. What he said, eagle do? He said, they that wait on Yahuwah to renew their strength. They shall mount on wings like eagles. They shall run and not faint. Meaning, he said, they're going to run up on the houses in the mall, and they will leave it in the house. He said, they that wait on Yahuwah. What they had to do when they were song for Yahushua? When he came to him shout, they had to wait for him to say shout. They that wait on Yahuwah shall renew their strength. It says, woe to those who dwell on the earth, because the Taruah blast, the trumpet blast that are about to be sounded, for there are 3 remaining Malachim. So all that, and there's still 3 more. Still 3 more. Still 3 more. It says, and the 5th Malach sounded, is Taruah. And I saw a star that had fallen from Shby'ay, and it was given the key to the pit of the abyss. And the star opened the pit of the abyss, and smoke rose out of it from the great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke from the pit. And out of the smoke, locusts descended on the earth, and they were given power like the scorpions on the earth. And they were told not to harm the grass, or the earth, or the plants, or the trees, but only those who did not have the seal of Elohim on their foreheads. In the front of the Lord. They had a seal. When he told them it has frontlets between your eyes. He told you put it as front between your eyes. And right in your hand, right? They have it in their forehead, in their frontal lobe, in their 12 cranials. It wasn't their personality. They wasn't sighing and crying for all the wickedness on the earth. They weren't crying. There was no emotion without natural affection. The locusts were given power to kill them, but only to torment them, not given power to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. And their torment was like the sting of a scorpion. In those days, men will seek death and will not find it, and they will long to die, but death will escape them. And the locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. They look like horses prepared for battle. It says, with something like crowns of gold on their heads and faces, like the faces of men. It says, and they had hair like that of a woman, and teeth like those of a lion. It says, they also had thoraxes like breastplates of iron, and sound of their wings was like the roar of many horses and chariots and rushing to battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, which had the power to injure people for 5 months. They were ruled by a king, and the Malach of the abyss, his name in Abri is Abena, in Greek Apollyon. The first woe is past. Behold, 2 woes are still to follow. Still, the 6th Malach sounded, and his trumpet, his Taruah. So we talk about Taruah. And I heard a voice of the four horns and the golden altars before Elohim, saying, the 6th Malach with the Taruah released the 4 Malach who are bound in the great river Euphrates. So the 4 Malach who have been prepared for this hour, remember who said, he should follow, for this hour I will come. That's your name, and he called, Kabod. He said, I'll go Kabod and Kabod who you. There's a certain point in time, he was like, I came for this hour. And a day, and a month, and a year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. He said, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to punish you 7 more times. If you don't repent and turn, I'm going to punish you 7 more times. And the number of the mounted troops was 200 million. I heard the number. Now the horses and the riders in my vision looked like this. The riders had breastplates of colors of sapphire, of fire and sapphire and sulfur. The heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths proceeded fire and smoke and sulfur. And a third of mankind was killed by 3 plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur that proceeded from their mouth. A third of mankind, for the power of the horses was in their mouths, and their tails, indeed, their tails were like the snakes, having heads with which inflicted harm. Now the rest of mankind who were not killed, so all these people left over. He said, "You won't listen to me after this?" He said, "I'm going to punish you 7 more times." What they didn't do? He said, "If you don't repent, and repent for your idol worship, your sorcery, and all the things," he said, guess what they didn't do? They didn't get killed by these plagues, still did not repent of the works of their hands. They still ain't do it. And they idol worship. They did not stop worshiping the demons and the idols of gold and silver and bronze. They didn't stop worshiping demons and Shadim and the fallen and the Malaki and their teaching. They didn't stop following Satan and darkness and errors. They didn't stop. Even though they see all this destruction, they won't stop. Silver and bronze and stone and wood, which cannot hear or talk. He said, I'm gonna throw your dead bodies right on your idols. Didn't he say that? He said, I'm gonna lay your bodies flat on your idols. Furthermore, they did not repent of their murder. Hey, thou shalt not kill. They murdered you. He said, sorcery, rebellion, sexual witchcraft, sexual morality, that's adultery and fornication and theft and stealing. He said, man, despise not a thief if you steal to satisfy soul. But when he is caught, you pay him 7-fold. Give him 7 vials. Matter of fact, give him 7 seals. Give him 7 trumpets. He'll repent and I'll come in this house and take it everything 7-fold. Right? Revelation 10:1. Then I saw another mighty Malaki coming down from Shby'ay, wrapped in a cloud with a rainbow on his head. And his face was like the sun, and his legs were like the pillars of fire. And he held in his hand a small scroll, which lay open. He placed his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. Then he cried out with a loud voice. Ruah, he cried out. The roar, like a roar of a lion. And when he cried out, the 7 thunders sounded their voices. When the 7 thunders had spoken, I was about to put it in writing, but you don't want to write that. But I heard the voice from Shby'ay saying, seal up what was in the 7 thunders. Having said, do not write it down. Then the Malak and I sent standing on the sea and on the land lifted up his right hand to Shby'ay, and he swore to him who lives forever and ever, who created Shby'ay and everything in it, that the earth and everything in it, and the sea and everything in it, there will be no more delay. There'll be time no more. Ain't no more time. But in the days of the voice of the 7th Malaki, 7th Malak, when it's about to sound his Taruah, the mystery of Yahuwah will be fulfilled, just as he proclaimed to his servants, the Nabi'im. It'll be fulfilled. It is finished. It'll be time no more. It is finished. Right? And it says, then the voice that I heard come from Shby'ay spoke to me again, saying, go, take the small scroll that lies open in the hand of Malaki standing on the sea and on the land. And I went to the Malak and said, give me the small scroll. Take it and eat it. And he said, it will make my stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be as sweet. It will be as sweet. It'll be as sweet as honey. It'll be as sweet as honey. So I took the small scroll from the Malakim's hand and ate it. And it was as sweet as honey in my mouth, but I had eaten it, and my stomach turned bitter. It's like the caviar. He said, when I had eaten the scroll, my stomach turned bitter. And they told me, you must novel again about many people and goyim and tongues and kings. After you did that, right? So this is Revelation 11:15. Then the 7th Malak sounded his Taruah, and a loud voice called out from Shby'ay, the kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of Adam, the master, and his Mashiach, and he will reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders who sit on the throne before the Elohim fell on their faces, and they worshiped Yahuwah. They fell on their face. saying, we give thanks to you, Yahuwah Elohim, the one who is and who was, because you have taken your great power and begun to reign. The Goyim were enraged, and your wrath has come. The time has come to judge the dead and to reward the servants, the Navi'im, as well as the Kadashim, and those who fear your name, both small and great, and to destroy those who destroy the earth. Then the temple of Yahuwah in Shby'ay was opened, and the ark of the covenant appeared in the ark of the covenant. Isn't that what they had when they were marching around the city with the trumpets? This is the seventh trumpet you're ready to sound. And there was a flash of lightning and rumbling, and the peals of thunder, and a great earthquake, and great hailstorm. Sound vibrational frequency, right? And I heard the loud voice of the temple telling the seven Malachim, go and pour out on the earth 7 bowls of the wrath of Elohim. And the first Malachi went and poured out his bowl. So you see all these things taking place. All these things taking place. He's like, man, all this stuff taking place now. He said the first went out and poured his bowl on the earth, and a harmful pain, sores, came upon people who bore the mark of the beast and worshipped the image. They worshipped idols. The second Malachi poured out his bowl into the sea, and it became like blood, and the corpse and every living thing died that was in the sea. I'm going to punish you 7 more times. 7-fold, 7-fold, 7-fold. And the third Malachi poured out his bowl into the rivers, and the springs of water became blood. And I heard a Malachi charge of the water say, just are you, Chudash one, who is and who was, for you brought these judgments. For they have shed the blood of the Kodashim and the Navi'im, and you have given them the blood to drink. Who killed the servants in the Navi'im? Yahshua, who did that? They did that. Who killed them? He said it persistently. And they mocked him. As a matter of fact, they killed them all. Yes, Adon, Master Yahuwah, the Almighty, true and just are your judgments. Who did that? He said, man, y'all listen to me this time? Man, I'm going to pour out 7 more times. Now I give you 7 seals. Matter of fact, I'll do it again. I'll give you 7 trumpets. 7 Taruahs. Now, if you don't listen to me after that, I'm going to give you 7 bowls of wrath. You want to repent still? He's like, I'm going to keep doing it. And he said, in the fourth month, he poured out his bowl on the sun, and it was allowed to scorch the people with fire. How many people? I'm going to scorch you. And scorched by the fierce heat, and they cursed the name of Yahuwah, who had power over these plagues. They did not repent and give him the glory. They won't repent. They won't stop. He said, you don't listen to me, I'm going to keep doing it. The fifth Malachi poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom was plunged into darkness. People gnawed their tongues in anguish and cursed the Elohim of Shby'ay in pain and sores, and they did not repent of their deeds. They still didn't repent. He said, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to do it 7-fold. Give it to him 7-fold. The sixth Malachi poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates, and it was water dried up to prepare the way for the kings of the east, the Malachim of the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false Navi'im, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. Like frogs. What did you say about frogs today? What did he say? For they are demonic spirits, performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world to assemble for battle the great day of Elohim, the Almighty. How you say the demons gathering people as one, as a cod. Not the Ruach of Yahuwah. Not the Ruach of Yahuwah gathering people as a cod. You got unclean spirits gathering people as a cod. And it says what? Behold, I am coming like a thief, because Barak is the one who stays awake and keeps his garments on, that he may not go about naked and be seen and exposed. And they assembled them in the place of Armageddon. In the verse 7, it says 17, the seventh Malachi poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple from the throne saying, it is done. And there was flashes. There's a 7th bowl. Now I'm going to do 7-fold. Shby'ay. Shby'ay. It says from the throne, saying, "It is done, it is finished." And there were flashing and lightnings and rumblings and peals of thunder and great earthquakes, such as there never have been since man was on the face of the earth. So great an earthquake. The great city was split in 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. People wonder why when you used to cry out, but things start shaking. Earthquake, things start splitting in 2. And Yahuwah Elohim remembered Babylon the Great, Babylon, right? To make her drain the cup of the wine of the fury of the wrath. And every island fled away, and no mountains were found. Nothing. And great hailstones, about 100 pounds each, fell from Shamayim on people. And they cursed Yahuwah Elohim for the plagues of the hail, because the plagues of the spirit. And they cursed him. They kept laughing and cursing. Still, right? 2 Chronicles, Dabarim, Hayamim 7, 12 to 14. Then Yahuwah appeared to Shalom in the night and said to him, "I have heard the prayers and have chosen this place for myself as a house of sacrifice. When I shut up the Shamayims, so that there is no rain." You know, when you took me first, he said in 49 Enoch, he said, if I shut up the rain because of your deeds, will you not entreat me? If I close the rivers and the streams, will you not entreat me? If I cut off the waters and the pools, will you not entreat me? If I shut off the rain, you'll entreat me. So why don't people just entreat him now? So he won't stop the rain. So we have abundant fruits and vegetables, so we can have abundant trees. So everybody live in harmony and shalom and peace, right? No. Why people don't want that? He said, "There be no rain, or command the locusts to devour the land and send pestilence." And then what he said he was going to do, he was talking about he was going to do. You just read it. Among my people, what do you think he's going to do? He said, "If you don't listen to me, this is what I'm going to do. Sevenfold, sevenfold, seven. Matter of fact, you're a thief, sevenfold. You mock me, reproach me, Yahuwah, and they turn at you. Sevenfold." But he already said, "Among my people, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, their deeds, their idol worship, their hatred, their jealousy, their envy, their rivalries, their malice, right? Their adultery, their fornication, their pride, their arrogance, tapuka mouth, unjust gain, plundering the poor and needy, the fatherless, if they repent and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from Shamayim, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal the land." I will heal you. I will heal the land. You see what he did to the land in the earth? You see what he did all that stuff? You just read it in Qahalath. He said because of his people. And they won't humble themselves and pray and seek the faith. He said, why? He said every man, everywhere he repent on the earth. Why? Because all of you need to humble yourself and pray. Shouldn't have a Aydah. Saphaniah 3:11-13. On the day you shall not be put to shame because of your deeds, by which you have rebelled against me. For then I will remove from your midst your proudly exalted ones. That's how he'll do it. And you shall no longer be haughty in my Chudash mountain. That's when you be your proud, your exalted ones. You're not going to be so proud anymore. But I will leave in your midst a people humble and lowly. After I get rid of them, I'm going to leave a humble people in the midst of you. Then they shall seek refuge in the name of Yahuwah. Those who are left in Yasharal, they shall do no injustice. They ain't going to have no injustice, which means they ain't going to lie themselves. They going to lie about judgment, because the Qahalath going to judge the murder. They going to judge Malachi. They ain't going to be incompetent. They going to speak no lies. They're not going to do that anymore. Nor shall there be found in their mouth a deceitful tongue. Guard your mouth, that you speak no lie or have uttered any deceit. For they shall graze and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. They ain't gonna make me afraid. I'm the good shepherd. And the good shepherd laid down his life for the sheep. He said, man, I'm the good shepherd. Ain't nobody gonna make them afraid. It's the apocalypse. of Aydah, Pseudepigrapha Volume 1. Remember that from the time when he created the Shamayim, Yahuwah created the fast for a benefit to men on account of passions and desires which fight against you, so that the evil will not inflame you. But it is a pure fast, which I have created, saith Yahuwah. The one who fasts continually will not sin, although jealousy and strife are within him. It's in him. Let the pure one fast. But whenever one who fasts is not pure, he has angered Yahuwah and also the Malachim, and has grieved his soul, gathering up wrath for himself for the day of wrath. You see all that wrath that's coming up? He's like, what do you mean? If you don't listen to me? Sevenfold. But the pure fast is what I created with a pure heart and pure hands. Like pure deeds. It releases sin, it heals diseases, it casts out demons. He said they didn't repent for their demons. And their idol worship and the things they did. The idol worship, right? He said, we're going into atonement. We're moving into atonement. He said, why do you want to fast pure? You want to be a pure-hearted individual. He said, I'm going to fast before. No. He wants you to rent your heart. Tear your heart before the fast. So you can be pure in heart. Tear your heart before the fast. So you can be pure in heart. So when you do it, you won't be gathering up wrath for yourself on the day of judgment. Tear your heart before you fast. Tear your heart before you fast. Say it one more time. Tear your heart before you fast. Because if you still have things in your heart, you can't tear it. You can fast, and the thing is going to still be there. It is effective up to the throne of Elohim for an ointment and for release of sin by means of a pure prayer. Tear your heart and not before you fast. Rent your heart before you fast. This is Nazarene actually the Shalakim apostles. The Basur good news give power over demons. You see how it's important to acknowledge Yahuwah and the observance of divine obedience. It's important, with which not only protects those who believe from the assaults of demons, but to Taruah and what? And how you say? Disturbs Satan. Obedience disturbs Satan within. He can't stay. It disturbs him, right? But also gives them command over those who rule over others. So you even command other spirits. You can control. And therefore, it is necessary for you, if you have obedience, who are of the Goyim nations. So you see what you're going to have people say, well, the Goyim there, everybody got to repent. You see what he's doing? Man, he's sending fire everywhere. Storms everywhere. He's flooding 10 inches of rain falling in 5 minutes. In what? In cities in Florida and Georgia and other places around the world. We got floods going through other places. Right? 20 inches of rain flood out your whole city in 10 minutes. He said what? To betake yourselves to Yahuwah and to keep yourself from all uncleanness, that the demons may be expelled and and Yahuwah may dwell in you. You can't dwell inside everybody with demons and shadim. And at the same time, by prayers, commit yourselves to Yahuwah, humble yourself and pray, and seek his face, and turn from your wicked ways, and call for his aid against the impudent demons, for whenever things you ask, believing you will receive it. That's what happens when you believe in Yeshua. That's a benefit. Because Mustama and his demons are going to be here. They still here. Even when you go to sleep at night today, he's going to still be here. They still here. But even the demons themselves, in proportion as they see Amunah, faith, remember, what did Satan do? He create error and doubt and make you leave Amunah. So he worked with the demons. He makes you to leave Amunah so demons can get inside of you. So he's literally telling you, as the Amunah grows in you, in proportion, they depart from you. As you see Amunah come by hearing the debar. Don't resist the debar when it's spoken. Why? Because it's going to purify the body and allow the demons to leave your body. They depart. They can't stay around you, residing only in a part in which something of infidelity still remains. One said, I still got a little idol worship in me. I still want to worship an idol. I still got a little hatred, malice, envy, strife, complaining, criticism, pride. I still got a little rivalries in me. I still got a little jealousy and envy in me, man. Them demons like, hungry today, we want you. We want you, we want your body. Infidelity, you still got, if he was like, adultery and fornication, I still got it inside me. He's like, man, the demons love you. But you're like a light outside with bugs around you. But for those who believe with full amunah, they depart without any delay. For when a ruach has come to amunah of Yahuwah, it obtains the virtue of the heavenly water, by which it extinguishes the demon like a spark of fire. Like a spark. Right. So this is mostly Proverbs 3 and 19. Yahuwah by wisdom Kukma founded the earth, and by understanding it established the Shamaim. By his knowledge the deeps broke open, and the clouds dropped down dew. My son and daughter, do not depart. Do not lose sight of these. Right? Do not lose sight of these. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, and they will be light to your soul and adornment to your neck. Then you will walk in your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. And you will lie down, and you will not be afraid. You ain't gonna be afraid. Why would you be afraid? And when you lie down, your sleep won't be sweet. Do not be afraid of the sudden terror and ruin of the wicked. You just read all about that. He said, don't even be afraid. Why? Because you believe that Yahuwah made the Shamaim in the earth. And see everything in it. What you scared for? And he said what? When it comes, for Yahuwah will be your confidence. And will keep your foot from being caught in it. He said, my sheep hear my voice, they follow me. He said, you gotta wait and you gotta hear his voice. You gotta hear Yahushua's voice. But he gonna let you get caught. Right? So this is Psalms 119, 162. I rejoice at the word like one who finds a great spoil. Man, just like they were getting that gold and silver when they did the Taruah and the gold and silver was on the ground. And everywhere they were like, man, he's going to trade. He's like, man, I'm delighting in the world more than gold and silver. It's great spoil. I hate and abhor falsehood, deception, lying. But I love in your Torah. 7 times a day I praise you for your righteous rules. Great shalom have those who love your Torah. He said, man, you have great shalom. Peace. Shalom. He said, when all the demons go, he said, man, you have peace with them. Nothing can make them stumble. I hope for your salvation. He said, I hope for your salvation. O Yahuwah, Yahuwah, and I do your commandments. My soul keeps your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. He said, 7 times a day I praise you. 7 times 7. So I do it 7 times for 7 days. That's 49. He said 13. A cow. 7 times a day I praise you. That's a cow. It was a cow. Everything works in a cow. And they keep you in oneness. It keeps you in oneness. It keeps you in oneness. A cow. 7 times a day. He said, I praise you. 7 times 7, 49. Amazing, that's the same count. 49 days you get for a cow too. Same thing. And for 364 days, equal 13. And the coup, and the spear, and the 7 celestial chariots. The 7 celestial circles. Right, Nakumyah 8. Nakumyah 8 through 10. Nakumyah 8, verse 10. It says, this day is Chudash to Yahuwah, your Elohim. Do not mourn or weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the Torah. He said, why didn't you be afraid? He said, what? Then he said to them, go your way, eat the fat and drink the wine, sweet wine, and send portions to anyone who has nothing ready. For this day is Chudash to Elohim, and do not be grieved For the joy of Yahuwah is your strength. He said, nothing gonna make you afraid. You lie down and your sleep will be sweet. Word for joy is Taruah. Qahalath, right? Or Taruah, right? And it means what? Joy, gladness, rejoicing. He said, man, Simcha. Taruah. Rejoice. Why? It's Chudash. He said, it's Chudash. Remember, nothing else by the water gate. Remember? By the water gate. When he been Christian reaching the side, he was going to pull through the wood. Now came blood and water. What did he say? He's by the water gate. And he had the Turah over. And everybody was there, all who could understand. Those men and women, all who could understand. As a cop. He said, 7 times a day I praise Yahuwah. He was a cop. When he made Adam, he made him a cop. When the darkness of the face of the beginning, he made him a cop. He made him. He was all one. Everything was one. It's Aleph Uchanan 1-24. Let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. If you don't lose sight of this thing, you ain't gonna worship no idols. You ain't gonna follow after them. You're not gonna follow after Satan. And if what you heard from the beginning abides in you, then you too will abide in the Son and in the Father. You're gonna abide in him. You're gonna abide in the strength of the house, which is the bed. The body of noon, and you're gonna abide in the life of the house, I mean the body of noon, and in the Father, you are the strength of the house. If you keep it from the beginning in your heart, in your mind. And this is the promise that he has made to us. The Amar, the bar, his utterance, his Taruah blast. The first day of the 7th month, on the 7th month, the 7th day, the 7th month, the 7th day, and God all meet together. They all meet. And this is the promise that he has made to us, eternal life. To those who believe in his name, believe on Yeshua Mashiach, believe on his name, to walk in his steps, and to hear his voice, and to shout, Ruah, when he tells you to. When he tells you to, and guess what you do? You'll take the mark food. He said, man, you will enter the city. He said, humble yourself like a child, you will never enter in. He said, your little ones that you thought were going to be prayed, he said, they won't enter into the city. He said, you don't humble yourself like a child, you will never enter in. A child obeys his mother and father, his parents. So when the father tells you to do something, or when the son tells you to do something, he helps govern, he's his own. Here's what he says. Shout. You can shout now. For real? I can shout now? Yeah, you can shout now. Right? For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.